Hi, folks. I'm Vinay Vishwambaran, and I'm a principal product manager at Esri. I'm focused on imagery and geospatial AI.
Hi everyone, I'm Rohit Singh. I am the director of S3's R&D Center in New Delhi, where we are working on bringing geospatial AI capabilities to ArcGIS.
So, we are building some good content on the GeoTech Talks channel. And with the last poll that I put up, I just put up a poll last week. I'm seeing that the most recent ask of us was a rundown on geospatial AI. So I figured we can spend some time talking about and educating a few of our viewers on geospatial AI within ArcGIS. So to start off, what is AI? Actually, I'll let Rohit speak about that. I enjoy the excitement that he brings to the topic. As soon as you ask him to break down AI, you'll see the excitement pop out. Okay, Rohit, what is AI?
AI is the ability of computers to do things that we typically only expect humans to do, such as, the ability to see and perceive things, to read and comprehend text, analyze and interpret data, or even generate art, for example. And we are seeing a lot of enhancements, a lot of advancements with AI, in particular using, the deep learning techniques. So you see these models like segment anything or vision transformers being used, and that can, with any kind of imagery, they can segment. They can even track things in video with the new segment anything version 2 that recently came out. And then, of course, everyone knows about ChatGPT and the large language model craze. And even for the ability to learn, we are seeing how techniques like low rank adaptation are enabling people to fine tune these models on their commodity GPUs. They don't need a data center for that. I mean, and you can do learning just by giving prompts or giving a few examples, and that's known as few shot learning. And of course, newer generation of models like the climax climate forecasting model, they not only let you extract and see features, but also do prediction and forecasting. And for creativity, you've all seen Chat GPT generate poetry and stable diffusion, and DALI too. Now there are models, even creating videos from a text prompt.
So that was AI. What about geospatial AI? GeoAI brings together all of these AI capabilities to the science of GIS. So the computer vision models in ArcGIS, for example, they let you extract features from imagery, or they let you extract features from 3D point cloud data. You can also track objects in video. What about NLP? Rohit, you want to talk a little bit about where does that fit in the context of GeoAI?
The NLP, or natural language processing models, they let you extract entities from text. You can extract locations and geocode them. You can classify and categorize text. There's a lot of learning capabilities, learning from data, machine learning and deep learning tools and capabilities. You can analyze and interpret data, GIS data, feature data, time series data, and and you might think that, well, there's no place for creativity or generative AI in GIS, but that's not entirely true. So if you're trying to increase the resolution of low res imagery to higher res imagery, you might use a super resolution model. So that's an example of where even these generative models can be used for geospatial AI tasks. Yes.
Okay, so that was a quick rundown on AI, and that was a quick rundown on GeoAI as well. So let's discuss with an example how Esri brings general AI advancements into our GIS. Now, AI is particularly good at recognizing patterns within images. For example, it can tell the difference between a cat and a dog. Now, this obviously doesn't happen magically. Training a machine to do this takes many thousands of photos of cats and dogs and a lot of compute power. But once the training is done, once we have a deep learning model that is built, the machine can solve the cat and dog problem at scale. Hey, why do you need to why do you need to count cats and dogs. So let's take it to our world, the geospatial world. Here, you can use geospatial AI, you can use GeoAI to extract all sorts of things from an aerial imagery. For example, just like how we train a machine to tell cats and dogs apart, we can train a machine to identify all sorts of things from an aerial image. We can use deep learning models to outline buildings from a commercially available high resolution image, or we can use it to detect pools or solar panels. And this really is transformational for two key reasons. First, the machines can perform this task at scale and extremely precisely. Once the deep learning model is built and trained, we can extract all building footprints and pools in a county in a matter of hours. And the quality of this output can easily outperform humans doing the same job manually. Secondly, obviously, all this GIS content, all of this foundational GIS content that is extracted are geospatially referenced. This means we can now cross-reference this information with our existing maps.
And I feel it's especially important because there's so much data being collected, so much imagery being collected with all of these thousands of nano satellites. Even there's satellites, there's aerial sensors, there's drones collecting all of this imagery, and manually trying to identify features and extracting information and insight from that is no longer feasible. You need an automated way, a scalable way to process all of this data. And by having computers do that, I think that's where the real power of geospatial AI exists.
So these were just a few examples that we talked about how transformational AI technology is proving in GIS, right? So a little more on GeoAI within ArcGIS. We split it into three key data structures. ArcGIS natively supports text, we support vector and tabular data, and lastly, all forms of imagery and remote sensing data are supported. With text, about 80% of all data has a geospatial aspect to it, location aspect to it. That holds true for even these vast amounts of text data, these reports or tweets and social media posts. And with the natural language processing models, you could extract information and location data, get it into a GIS, and then analyze and interpret that data.
And the AI capabilities in ArcGIS are available at many different tiers. So if you're just getting started and want to take advantage of AI, well, you could actually take one of our 75 geospatial AI models, the pre-trained models on ArcGIS Living Atlas. And if there's a wide variety of tools that you can use with these models, tools that work with ArcGIS Pro on the desktop, and tools that work on the cloud with ArcGIS Online or in your enterprise with ArcGIS Enterprise. And if you're a Python developer or a data scientist who wants to integrate the latest and greatest AI models, bring them into ArcGIS, you want the finer grained control over these models and the hyperparameters when training such models on your own data, you can do that using the ArcGIS Learn module of the ArcGIS API for Python.
So simplifying that, you have access to geospatial AI directly through the API for the developers, for the data scientists. Then we've exposed it through tools. This is for the geospatial analysts, for the image analysts. And then we've exposed it as pre-trained models. With pre-trained models, we're making it super easy for you guys to get into the GeoAI world and start exploring the AI capabilities. Now I'll talk a little bit about pre-trained GeoAI models. That's an exciting topic for me. I love to talk about pre-trained GeoAI models because we've made it so easy for our users to get into this field. Out of the box, ArcGIS provides you with access to more than 75 different pre-trained AI models, and they're all designed for different business needs. You can extract building footprints, you can extract roads, parking lots, solar panels, detect human beings, you name it, and we've got a range of objects and features that can be extracted from different data types. Now we've created these models, we've created these pre-trained models to work with different sectors. So we have models that are designed for the utility sector, for the insurance industry, for the conservation industry, public safety industry, so on and so forth.
And in addition to the models that we've trained ourselves on vast amounts of geospatial data, we've also packaged open source and foundation models as deep learning packages so you can use them easily with the ArcGIS. So, for example, recently Meta came out with the segment anything model, and we've made it available as a deep learning package. And very quickly, it shot up to the most downloaded models of all times. In fact, Meta recently featured this model in its Data for Good page and also the release announcement page for the segment anything version 2 model that they just released. Uh, and we are also seeing the emergence of foundation models for remotely sensed imagery. So models like Prithvi from IBM and NASA have been made available. And not only can you use it for tasks like burn scar segmentation or flood delineation, you could even fine tune these models using the tools and APIs that I mentioned earlier. So, Vinay, why don't you tell us a little bit about the tools that enable geospatial deep learning with ArcGIS?
Well, to start with, one of the things that I really want to highlight is it is a comprehensive geospatial AI system that you're working with when you're within the ArcGIS ecosystem. Conventional packages enable you to label your data, train a model, and perform inferencing, right? With ArcGIS, you can process raw imagery that has been acquired by drones, aerial cameras, or satellites. Once you process this data, you can create ortho mosaics, which can then be served out using server technology. The image analyst or the GIS analyst who's working with deep learning tools, they don't have to worry about managing these large volumes of imagery. All they're working with is a single service endpoint, right? So you can see how the system is starting to come together. Once they have the imagery layer, they label the data, they prep the data, they train a model, they run inferencing, leveraging enterprise, they can do inferencing at scale. And then using out-of-the-box geoprocessing tools or raster functions, you can perform downstream analysis on the features that you've extracted. To make all of this possible, these AI tools are accessible directly from within your desktop, ArcGIS Pro. It's available in ArcGIS Online, and it's available within enterprise as well. Another exciting product is the Deep Learning Studio. That is available on enterprise. It's a project-based collaborative web application which enables multiple users to contribute towards a single AI project or a single deep learning project. So we have a slew of tools, imagery, text, 3D, that's accessible across all deployments that you work with.
And I'd like to call out the GeoAI Toolbox. Not many people know about it. It's a relatively new toolbox that has tool sets that let you work with not just with imagery, but also with tabular and time series data, and also for the text AI capabilities like extracting entities and locations, classifying text, or doing sequence to sequence tasks like transforming text from one format to another. And we've got extensive support for deep learning with imagery in particular, and an area Vinay is very passionate about. So Vinay, why don't you tell us about some of the deep learning capabilities, particularly for imagery?
So we started off with just overhead imagery, just satellite imagery and drone imagery that was captured native. But now we support all different data types that are natively supported within ArcGIS. We support video, 3D scenes, point cloud data, overhead imagery, time series data, street view imagery, that's oriented imagery, and images that are required on the field. In terms of tasks, you're going beyond object detection and pixel classification. You can now do 3D object detection, point cloud classification, multi-object tracking, edge inferencing, asset mapping, crop classification, you name it, and those kinds of tasks can be done with imagery. Yes, I do get excited when I talk about this.
Yes.
And Rohit, I'm sure there's so much more you can talk about when it comes to vector and time series.
Yeah, and then even before that, let's talk about 3D. A lot of the data is in the form of 3D point clouds or meshes. And in particular for point cloud, we've added a number of capabilities, number of models. So you can do 3D point cloud classification, or you could do 3D object detection. And there are, the latest generation of deep learning models for these workflows. And not only do they work with overhead LiDAR, they also work with terrestrial LiDAR. They work with structure from motion point clouds as well. And coming to GeoAI for tabular, time series, and text data, we've got extensive support for that too. In particular, I'm quite excited by the AutoML or the automated machine learning tools in the GeoAI Toolbox. You know, with uh, with an automated approach, this tool lets you train and try out, experiment with a number of machine learning models on your vector or tabular data, and lets you create highly accurate models for tasks like regression or classification. And then for time series forecasting, we've added deep learning based models like LSTMs and newer models like ResCNN that let you do these accurate time series forecasting tasks where the kind of patterns that you want to forecast cannot be described in a simple linear or a harmonic fashion. There are these subtle variations that these deep learning models can capture, provided you have enough training data to train these models on. Okay, coming to text. As you all know, large language models like ChatGPT have revolutionized AI. And these models are not new to ArcGIS. In fact, we've had support for these large models like GPT-1 and 2 even before uh, ChatGPT came out, and we've had these models as backbones for our text AI tools. So whether you wanted to do classification or transformation or text or extract entities from it, you could do that using a powerful backbone like BERT or GPT and trained it on your data to do these tasks. And with newer LLMs, that's something I'm quite excited about. They are soon coming in the upcoming release of Pro as well, that you'll be able to use few shot learning, like giving a few examples, giving a prompt, and then having large language models like Mistral do this work for you.
So if we were to do a quick recap, we talked about AI, we talked about GeoAI, GeoAI within ArcGIS, talked about the different data modalities that are supported, pre-trained AI models, the different tools that are available. So, in terms of what's available, what we talked about, we covered the complete spectrum. And this typically takes us about 5 hours to do.
So this is one of the quickest introductions to GeoAI in ArcGIS that you'll hear about. And I'm sure many of you are waiting to get started and want to learn more. We've actually put together a number of resources. So there are these learn lessons available in ArcGIS where there are learning pathways, and these come with tutorials, they come with the data, and I believe you can even get a trial license of ArcGIS to try this out. We provide you with the sample data and workflows, step by step workflows with which you can use these models and even train these models on different kinds of data modalities. Another resource is the sample notebooks. If you're a Python developer or a data scientist, there's a GitHub site where all of these notebooks are made available to you. And then there are a lot of samples for 2D deep learning, 3D deep learning, machine learning on tabular data, time series forecasting, NLP, you name it. There's I believe over 100 sample notebooks that you can use as a data scientist to learn about and experiment with the ArcGIS Learn library, which is a library for geospatial deep learning with ArcGIS. And another great resource is the Medium blog. So it's medium.com/GeoAI, where the teams at Esri talk about the latest innovations in geospatial AI, and you get to see a sneak peek of what they might be working on or what might be coming next in ArcGIS.
All right, so that's what we had time for today, and I'm hoping this was useful to you. To share comments if there's more information that you need, if we can provide you with more content that you think will be useful to you, we'd be more than glad to share more with you. And with that, see you in our next session of GeoTech Talks.
Okay, thank you, Vinay.